you went from finance to filmmaking. Can you explain a little bit about why you made this switch and kind of how that happened for you?
Well, I went from finance to another creative endeavor. I opened a chain of or started a chain of furniture stores. So I did that before I ended up coming right over to the producing world. And I've had a love for the entertainment field since I was a young child, and I I was drawn back to it while I was filming my commercials for my furniture stores. And so I basically just progressed a baby step at a time back in to a world I had left behind, the entertainment industry, and found that my niche was really producing and writing. And so I just kind of jumped in, all in, both feet, head first, and slowly everything just unfolded. And it's been about 13, 14 years now that I've been doing what I'm doing. And I've been able to bring in the entrepreneurial skills as well as my financial background into the mix of what I'm doing now, which is Hollywood Expansion Corporation. And it's exciting marrying everything together, marrying your skills together. Yeah.
That's awesome. It's nice when things work out like that.
Isn't it? I know, like you're like, why did I have to go through this when I really should have been doing this? But everything, it's like a recipe. You might not taste one ingredient, but if you skip it, you're going to notice in the end.
For sure, for sure. Um, so kind of going throughout these career transitions, was it always an easy switch?
I don't have a problem with change. For me, it was sort of a part of life from early on. I had a ton of change as a young child, and I guess I just grew to accept it and learn that resiliency was just part of the life process. I didn't formulate it in those thoughts when I was younger, but now looking back, I can say, gosh, all those things I went through made me incredibly resilient. And my friends that know me well, that's one thing they will say. And they used to tell me that in my 20s, they told me in my 30s, my 40s, my 50s. And it wasn't till I was probably in my 50s when I thought, yeah, you know what? I think they're right. I think I'm pretty resilient. Finally, it dawned on me what people were saying was true. So,
Yeah, better late than never, for sure.
yes.
Um, so I was reading through your bio a little bit, and I found it interesting that you had spent some time in the Cleveland and Wexford areas. I grew up in Northeast Ohio, so I thought that was very
Oh.
interesting. But what brought you out that way?
So I was married to someone who played in the NFL, and that brought me to Pittsburgh. He played for the Steelers for a couple years. So we were there, and I really, I loved it there. The people are so down to earth and very, kind of old school, and it was really great. I was especially excited because we were in Scottsdale, and it was summer, and our children were getting all crispy from the sun, and I had just had a baby, and going to Pittsburgh where it was kind of cloudy was like, ah, you know. It was cool. It was like 80s and 90s. We left when it was 120. Um,
Jeez.
so that was exciting. But then the people in Pittsburgh really grew on me, and I have a lot of friends from there still. But I did end up getting divorced and moved to a couple different other areas. But funny enough, I met my late husband, and he lived in Cleveland. So I ended up right back in the Midwest again in Ohio, which I really loved. And it was very much like Pittsburgh, but it seemed a little bit more advanced than Pittsburgh. Like there was a little bit more to do, and so and there was a bigger film industry in that area as well. I really enjoyed living in the Midwest.
As a native Ohioan, it always warms my heart to hear that.
Ah, yeah, I know. People really are down on Ohio, and I don't know why. Ohio's a great place to raise a family. Everything is very affordable. They do have it's a little bit of a more infantile filming world there, but it's growing. And I hope that I have been a contribution to that. I know people in the film office there and try to promote filming in Ohio. The tax incentives are fantastic. And I just love the people there. They're just good people, you know. Yeah.
Um, the next time I hear someone getting down in Ohio, I'm gonna quote you.
Oh yeah, do.
Um, so kind of getting back into your film and production career, you mentioned the Hollywood Expansion Corporation. What exactly is that and what do you do with it?
So it's a company that I founded when I realized the Hollywood system is very dysfunctional. Everything from the casting process to the filming process to, there's just so much room for improvement. So, and I learned this from making Holiday Twist, which was my very first film that I had complete control over. And I had many experts and very experienced colleagues on the movie in production that had 50 different ways of doing the same thing. And I kept, from owning businesses, I kept wondering, why isn't there something like a system, something that you can go into this knowing what you're in for? Why is it so up in the air and all the balls circling and, you hope that you can catch them when they fall? It's very chaotic. So I developed a system that allows for, more transparency, safer investments when you're putting your money into a film. And it's been really well received, and I'm super excited about it. We're just in an early, it's our first year, and we've done wonders for just being around for a year now. And I have to say, it's really been amazing, and it's easy, and I'm proud of it. And we're just getting ready to launch into phase two, and 2026 is going to be a very exciting year.
That's awesome to hear. What exactly does phase two mean?
So phase two, we will be launching our platform. The platform is, I can't talk a lot about it. We do have, some confidentiality reasons. There's a lot of competitors that right now are, they got the word about us, and they are running with a lot of our ideas. So I do have to be kind of careful when I talk about it. But we've joined with some software engineers, and they've been creating something really unique and special for us that we're going to bring out in 2026. And, eventually we are going to be a streaming platform.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
So I don't want to kind of like jump the gun a little bit with my next question, and I also don't want to, overstep in terms of the keeping some of the stuff on the down low. But to eventually become a streaming platform, there's already a lot out there. So I guess what what would make people turn to uh, is it HEC or the HEC? Which do you prefer?
Heck, we call it heck. Heck yeah.
I like it. I like it. So kind of like what would entice people to use Hex streaming platform?
So our platform will be a little different than most others you've seen. We are, first off, very family friendly. So pretty much anything you watch on the platform will be family friendly. You don't have to babysit what your children are watching, or, it's going to be all ages content. It will have an inspirational and empowering motive behind it. So things to improve mankind, things that, to watch that will potentially make a difference in your life. And then we also have plan B. Like the platform doesn't just stop at watching the movie. There's other ways you can be interactive with the content. I guess that's about what I could say safely.
Well, that's enough to be incredibly unique compared
Yeah.
to the other ones. So uh, even though that's all you can say, that's uh, exciting for what's to come then.
Yeah, I'm very excited. We have a great team of people that, um, you know, in building this idea out. Obviously, the idea starts with one person, and then you have to share it to grow, right? So I have a wonderful team of people that have really expertise in a variety of areas that they've been able to bring to the table to bring the original idea full circle. And that's what 2025 has primarily been about, is building out our team and our systems. And, um, you know, we haven't been screaming from the rafters what we're doing, because we're building our infrastructure, which is unusual in Hollywood. Usually you build out, you brag about what you're doing, and then you say you're doing this and you're going to do that, and and then, you really haven't done anything, right? So we sort of took a different approach, where we've been very quiet and gotten involved with some fairly big films. And um, we have been under the radar, working and building out what we hope to be a better, um, monumental system that people can use going forward in filmmaking.
That's great. That's great to hear. Um, so it's very apparent like why you started Heck, but why did you take it upon yourself to start this company and kind of be the front runner for this change rather than like have a bunch of partners or like let someone else do it, I guess.
So I learned a Harvard education, a crash course education in how the movie business is extremely dysfunctional, when I made Holiday Twist. And I was just, I went through everything you could imagine. I mean, if there was any pitfall, quicksand, speed bump, I encountered it making that film. And people were like, man, we've never seen a project have so much happen to it, and then you pull out. and it ends up being okay in the end. I'm like, I know what is going on here. Why is this happening to me? Every few days, I would have a pity party like, God, what are you trying to show me? What are you trying to tell me? Why is this happening? And, I felt like by the time I made that film, and I mean, the day it came out in theaters, I was, just like, I can't believe that AMC, Regal, and all these films, these theaters wanted my film, and it's my first film, and it almost didn't get made. How is it even possible that that I got into theaters? And it started just dawning on me. There must have been a reason I had to go through all this. And as I rested and recuperated from that first film, which it does take time. When you're a writer, producer, and director, you need a little downtime. I mean, it was devouring my body, my health, my mental space, everything. But once I started relaxing, I guess you'd call it, I started thinking, it shouldn't be this hard. Why is it this hard? This is why films end up not getting made. They start and then they don't get finished. Or the investors say, I don't want to be a part of this. And this is why the investors never get their money back, because there's so much that can go wrong because there's not a system in place. So that just started infiltrating my thoughts daily. Like, how can I make this better? Because I have two other films that I've got that are in the system of, in the process in my mind, outlined, and I'm writing the scripts for them. So how can my next one be better? And how can I help other people not have to go through what I've gone through? Because I heard so many stories. Every time something would happen to me, I would hear 10 other stories that were nightmares for other people. So it wasn't just me. Everyone was experiencing this. And it happens on big movies, little movies, movies that don't get made, movies that are, blockbuster movies. Um, and I thought there's got to be a better way. So I started writing down my thoughts on how to make it better for my next films. And then it just kind of segued into HEC. And that's really how it all started.
That's incredible. Continuing to bring resilience wherever you go.
I guess, yeah, it's a good way to put it.
So, in the briefing that I received, there was the project Maserati, the brothers. So kind of on the filmmaking end of this, what are some of Heck's current prod or your current projects, stuff that Heck's working on, and I guess what can we look forward to?
So, Maserati the Brothers is going to be out first quarter. That is very exciting. I had sent over my HEC presentation deck to a very dear friend of mine, and he was a producer on Maserati the Brothers. And he called me a couple months later and he goes, I have an idea. Why don't we have an affiliation with your new company and Maserati? And he goes, I love what you're doing. I love the concept. And I was so honored that he thought of bringing us on. So I have an affiliation credit with them and an EP credit. And I've been helping do some strategic financial monetization of the pre-sales. That's a movie where the cast is so amazing. You've got Al Pacino and Anthony Hopkins, Jessica Alba, Andy Garcia, Michaela Maroney. Everyone in the movie is just Oscar worthy. When you see the movie, you'll know what I mean. The performances are amazing. The production value is amazing. And I'm so grateful that this was the first movie that HEC had an affiliation with to come right out of the gate. And it's been a win-win for the movie and for us. And I've learned so much about working with a whole new caliber of talent. You know, Bobby Moresco, the director, he's incredible. Andrea Lervolino, I've really enjoyed working with him. He's a pretty big international producer. And so now I've been invited to work on the next film, which is Bugatti, the Genius, which is also another car film, and I have to say I am not a car expert. I just did an interview with someone yesterday. I think he thought I was a car expert. I'm like, gosh, I barely know how to change the oil in a car. Like, but I love bringing stuff to life, and that's my part of it. So the story, the research, all of that, I don't have a lot to do with these car movies, but helping bring them to life and, give them the legs they need to be able to film the way they want to film. That's really important to me. So so Bugatti the Genius is around the corner. And then we've got Ethan Almighty, which is completely opposite spectrum. It's a really feel-good dog movie about a dog that was severely neglected and abused, a mastiff that was 37 pounds on death's door, and his recovery and how he helped change laws for other dogs around the world or around the country for neglect and abuse. And that I'm very passionate about. I really love animals. So, um, I think they're sometimes much better than humans, actually. And then we've got Grandma Goes to Hollywood, which is a great feel-good family story, and Vincent, which is a movie about love. And those are our movies right now.
Definitely busy.
It's very busy.
Awesome. Um, so kind of staying up to date with you, heck, all of the films that are coming out. Where can we follow you?
I'm on Instagram, Stephanie Garvin 1. That's my Instagram handle. And I do have Hollywood Expansion Corporation on Instagram. We're actually going to be doing some casting calls on there soon too. So if you have actors, film crew, people that are in any of the areas that we're going to be casting for, we would love for people to reach out. Um, we've got a website, hollywoodexpansioncorporation.com. And I'm on Facebook, Stephanie Garvin.
Awesome.
And we also have, just so you know, Beth, we have a lot of investors that are really happy with what we're doing as well because we have collateralized investments so they can get involved in film. Sometimes you maybe have an itch to be on set or an itch to dabble in something, but you don't want to really go all in. So we have opportunities for people that just want to have a little piece of Hollywood in their life. Not necessarily Hollywood because we work all over the world, but a little piece of entertainment in their life just to spice it up a bit and keep it exciting, or maybe just want a collateralized investment opportunity. So we have a lot of investors all over the country right now they've been so excited to get involved and become credited on major films. And we've had a couple people have speaking roles on the films. So it's been fun. We can get the Dr. So and so, his part that he always wanted on a film. So he can brag about it. And it's been really fun cocktail discussions, I guess, amongst the investors. They get to talk about they get updates from what's happening on the films, and they've really loved that.
That's awesome. It sounds like you've got it all planned out and things are moving well, and that's really exciting for you.
Yeah, they are. And that's one reason I feel so passionate about HEC, because it's really just been a natural flow. We haven't had, knock on wood, we haven't had to really um, push that hard. It's been very well received. People understand the need for this.
That's great. That's great. Amazing. Um, those were all the questions that I had. But before I let you go, is there anything else you wanted to add?
Um, Gosh, well, we're building out our team right now for the company. So if someone, we are on LinkedIn, and we are looking for people that are passionate about making a difference. So if anyone has an interest in making a difference in filmmaking, either through investing or bringing their projects to us for the platform, we have a ton of product placement opportunities, branding opportunities, and we'd love to hear from those people.